So I mentioned so ultimately AI systems break. They do things that they weren't supposed to do, and then they get fixed. And the history of AI has not always been so positive, even before generative AI. Have you heard the phrase garbage in, garbage out? I think this is very reminiscent of AI's history. So here's some not so good news. These again are just some highlights. These are not all of the harms that have been caused, but I think you'll see a trend in this that most of the not so good news has been related to bias output and doing things that harmed people, whether it was a credit limit on a card, a healthcare decision, or the way that algorithms moderated content or YouTube. And then once generative AI emerged, it was actually generating biased and harmful content like racist, sexist, other discriminatory language. Um, Sometimes models were overcorrected to the point that they would not create historically accurate images of the founders of the country. And again, there are people adjusting those levers to make decisions, and those people are flawed, just like all humans are flawed. Some of the early chatbots would be somewhat manipulative. The story of an early Bing chatbot called Sydney trying to get a New York Times columnist, Adam Roos, to leave his wife. Um, Professionals have been caught using hallucinated material in their profession. And now we're at a place where bias and environmental concerns continue. There are lawsuits mounting about fair use of the training data. Companion bots are seemingly more real than people intended, and some and lawsuits are being held post-suicide on some companion bot companies. Um, Even when we think of medical records and some of the laundry of a therapist, medical records, billing records, etc., those have also been found to have hallucinated and biased material in that output. And regulatory frameworks are, for the most part, non-existent right now. So I don't really know when those are going to come into play. So it really does seem to be up to the companies and the user base to determine like what is good enough. So yes, we should be really concerned about bias in the coding and the use of AI. I believe that. I also know that the question really should be who created the training data? If it ate the internet and that was the training data, who created that? That's us. That's our species. That's humanity. So then, with that reality, I'm left wondering, is Gen AI the problem, or perhaps is Gen AI a reflection and prediction of humanity? Does it show us our worst? Does Gen AI show us a reflection of ourselves? And if Gen AI does show us an aggregate of our content, then perhaps we can change what we produce and the bias that's underneath of it. Some people have said, I've read some people that have said that they're not upset that generative AI produces biased content because that actually shows us that biased content exists in the world and that bias exists in the world and it can no longer be debated.